Hey there guys, welcome to the channel. So I have said this a million times and I usually get flack in the comments every single time, but I actually feel bad for everybody's favorite diversity hire, Karine Jean-Pierre. I mean, let's be real. Being Joe Biden's spokesperson has got to be the worst job literally in the history of the government. I don't know how she manages, man, to answer any questions without accidentally telling the truth. There's literally so much to talk about. I don't know how she even prepares. How does she even know what lies or what shady actions that she's going to have to spin tomorrow morning? It's just crazy. It's actually amazing that anyone on the planet could have such little shame if they could do that job. I mean, for a government salary, no less. She's not making millions. I don't know that you could do that job for millions, a normal person. I mean, the only thing I can think is that anyone who's doing that job, they aren't really doing it, they're not doing it to inform the American people. They are only doing it for the connections that they can make, and they're only doing it for a future at MSNBC of all places, which is insane. But check out what always seems to happen anytime a reporter asks a tough question. One that is actually on the mind of you and me. One that is actually on the mind of the American people. Not the flavor of ice cream, not how was the beach, none of that stuff. So that's not what people care about. When she's asked a serious, relevant question or something scandalous related to the Bidens, which there's a gazillion things that could be, she either dodges and pivots to something completely irrelevant, invokes the Hatch Act, which is always freaking hilarious, especially when it comes to cocaine, or she abruptly ends the press conference, just makes a beeline for the exit. It's almost comedic. If it wasn't so sad and so important, it would be funny to watch. But you guys have got to see it.
On impeachment, you just mentioned House Republicans' baseless claims. How confident are you that there will be no evidence that incriminates President Biden and Hunter's business dealings as this goes forward?
So let me just give a little bit of a laydown here, because I think it's important. Any specifics to the inquiry? Certainly, I want to say this at the top, as I said to Darlene. I'm going to refer you to my colleagues at the counsel's office. But I also want to be clear about a couple of things. I just talked about Bidenomics. I just talked about the president's going to do tomorrow, really deliver a major speech, something that the American people want to hear about. What are we doing to improve their lives, work on the economy? And these are real issues, real priorities for Americans. And like I said, like lowering costs. But what you see Republicans in Congress, right, they have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they've spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. I mean, that is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation. And with that, folks...
Can you explain why the president interacted with so many of his son's foreign business associates? More than half of voters told CNN they believe the president was involved and he lied. You can't have a response to that, Karine?
Just when you thought she may have something original, truthful, or revealing to maybe say no, out come the sleepiest of sleepy DNC talking points.
You see Republicans in Congress, right? They have spent all year investigating the president. That's what they've spent all year doing. And have turned up with no evidence, none, that he did anything wrong. I mean, that is what we've heard over and over again from their almost year-long investigation. And that's because the president didn't do anything wrong.
Well, there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect here, because no matter how many times they pound on the drum of no evidence to support the allegations, no evidence, they haven't proven anything, they just make the American people look more and more curiously at the emails, at the text messages, the photos, visitor logs, the pesky voicemail, numerous first-hand accounts from business associates, and some pretty freaking incriminating eyewitness testimony. This is the evidence, people. That's what they're talking about. So it's more than a little confusing to hear someone insist that there's no evidence. I mean, it's even more mind-blowing, mind-boggling to witness someone standing at a podium blatantly lying over and over again. I mean, it's just a denial of reality. They're stuck in an alternate universe. Just one of the more recent examples was her answer about Joe Biden's damn near unforgivable behavior at a Medal of Honor ceremony.
The president took off his mask, as I said he would, to deliver incredibly powerful remarks about this captain, Captain Taylor, and what he did in service to our nation, and he wanted to honor the captain. And for a brief time afterwards, he also didn't have his mask on, as you just laid out, and he left as planned, as it was planned. He left when there was a pause in the program in order to minimize his close contact with attendees who are about to participate in a reception. And as you all reported that, noticed that he left when there was a pause in the program, because again, he wanted to minimize certainly his impact on folks who were there.
Honestly, man, I mean, I'm starting to get really, really confused as to who is more of a liar. Is it the president, who really just can't help himself but to lie, or is it the team of White House freaking mouthpieces who have defined creative ways to lie about the lies? I mean, without looking like it's a lie. And then probably have to go back and lie to the president about everyone else's lies. I mean, that has got to be how it goes.
John, in the past couple of weeks, the president has lied about being at Ground Zero the day after the September 11th attacks, falsely claimed he saw the Pittsburgh Bridge collapse, claimed his grandfather died in the hospital days before his birth. What is going on with the president? Is he just believing things that didn't happen did happen, or is he just randomly making stuff up?
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families, and was honored by their presence and the chance to make an important set of remarks about why we need to continue to remember that day, and he did that, and he spoke about a visit to Ground Zero, which he did participate in, about a week or so after the.
Wow, man, just listen to that guy's voice, dude. That man is a shell of the confident, decorated military man that he was just a year or two ago. That poor guy absolutely freaking hates his life, and he should. I mean, it's a disgrace. I hope he writes a book. I hope he wises up and writes a book. But I mean, just listen to that. All nonsensical rhetoric. I mean, that didn't even come close to answering the question. The real question here is, why does Joe Biden seem to have a habit of being dishonest about everything? He claims he was at Ground Zero just after the attack, which is a lie. And if it were true, his priorities must have been changed, because it took him 13 freaking days to make a fool of himself in Maui, where he lied again, by the way. And he still hasn't shown up to East Palestine, which is another thing these propagandists have to dance around.
Okay, just one more. The president said over the long weekend that he hasn't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. I just haven't been able to break. The derailment was on February 3rd. President Biden has not had a break since February 3rd.
The president will go to East Palestine. He promised that he would, and he will. You saw him.
So he was not on a break when he was in Lake Tahoe?
I will say this again. The president is going to go to East Palestine, as he has said that he is committed to.
Wow, man. Just wow. I mean, remember, guys, these are the people that promise to be the most transparent administration in the history of our country. And the same people that treated it like an act against the nation when Trump misrepresented his crowd size at the inauguration. I mean, the Washington Post, they ran a story a couple years ago with the headline, Trump lied 30,573 times. If you Google Washington Post Biden lied, you'll find headlines like, Biden loves to retell certain stories. Some aren't credible. That right there should tell you all you need to know. I mean, it's freaking amazing, man. Anyway, guys, that's just my take. Let me know yours in the comments. And if you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.